Hi everyone and welcome to the show. I'm Nancy Guppy.
And I'm Joe Guppy.
And this is our vacuum cleaner. Yeah, been in every single show. And this is Art Zone Phones It In, which is a stay-at-home version of the regular Art Zone show that has been on the Seattle channel for 10 plus years. Okay, before we launch, I want to give a shout out to Jennifer Zwick. Jennifer is a tremendous artist as well as a very funny and charming human being. And a few weeks ago, out of the blue, she sent us this postcard. You want to get a good shot of that. And it's a picture that she took of her son lying on a tree. She calls it Sylvan's sloth impression. Very funny. And on the back is this little message. Hang in there, love, Jenny Zwick. And I just love the way she wrote that. I love the pen, the calligraphy. Now, here's the deal. I don't know Jenny Zwick really well. I like her a lot. But this spontaneous artistic gesture, sending this postcard to us, really brightened our day. And it drove home the point that it's the small things, it's the small actions that can make a huge difference. So both Joe and I want to thank Jenny for this fantastic, wonderful postcard. And you can check out Jennifer's artwork, and you're going to want to because it's so good, on Instagram and on her website, which is jenniferzwick.com. Well, we've got a really nice show for you. Singer-songwriter Sera Cahoone performs an original tune, a peek behind the scenes with cinematographer Vincent Pierce, a tour of the Joe and Nancy Guppy art collection, and we're going to start with excerpts from my Zoom interview with John Lavin, a highly successful and sought-after production designer whose work has played a major role in creating the look and feel of feature films, music videos, and most recently, TV. One note. We speak a number of times about filmmaker Lynn Shelton, John's close friend and longtime collaborator. We recorded this interview 2 weeks before Lynn's sudden and untimely death.
Hi, John Lavin.
Hi, Nancy.
It's great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Let's start out with a real basic overall question. What does a production designer do?
The production designer is the one in charge of the art department, and the art department are the ones who take care of everything on the screen that's not the actor. Mm-hmm. So it's not the wardrobe and makeup and it's not the lighting. But if that actor walked away, everything in the screen is the art department's problem, and the production designer is the one in charge of the art department.
That's a big job.
It's a great job. It's fun.
So you've done feature films with Lynn Shelton, Saturday Night Live director Oz Rodriguez, music videos with Macklemore and Ed Sheeran. Mm-hmm. How is it different designing for a feature film versus a music video?
Well, feature films they're a long story. So you have a character to develop, and you sort of have to decide what's their world like and where do they come from and who are they and what would be their backstory. Stuff that's not necessarily in the script, and it's more about development of a world for them to inhabit. Mm-hmm. And that has to be a discussion with the director right from the start. I mean, this is their vision. We're building the world for this character that they walked into this with. In a music video, usually it's a little looser because there tend to be more cuts in the edit and more freedom to just be this happens and then that happens, and they don't necessarily need to be connected.
Like the narrative arc is a different kind of an arc.
Yeah, well, depending on the story, yeah, right. And you've also got, there's going to be by necessity a whole lot more cuts and more sort of things to see and snapping through, and oftentimes that just means you're sort of throwing more looks at it and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Is there a point in a project when you know in your gut that you are on the right path?
Yeah, that would be hard to name what that point is, but sure. Yeah, there's a point really early on in a project, especially a sort of a longer project, where oftentimes is when you're still scouting for locations and looking at things, and all you've got is a script, and the ideas are sort of gelling, and then there's a lot of conversation with the director, and usually with the cinematographer or DP, the director of photography, and you're kind of figuring out sort of look and feel stuff. And once you sort of land on it, oftentimes it's a thing where you're saying, you know, this should feel a little bit like Goodfellas meets Pee-wee's Big Adventure or whatever. You sort of find, you know, things and say, if we can make this vibe feel like that, and then you sort of lock in on, and then once that idea becomes clear, that's a feeling where it sort of feels like, okay, now we sort of get what this is.
You work with numerous directors and a fair amount with a couple in particular. I think you've done most of Lynn Shelton's films, or quite a few of them.
Yeah, I've done them all back to Your Sister's Sister.
Right. Plus quite a few music videos with Jason Koenig.
Yeah.
Describe the relationship that you try to foster, or you want to foster, with the director.
There's a remarkable thing. Lynn and I we've known each other for a very long time. We go way back. And she and I have, there's a certain, there's a rapport we have, and then an understanding we have, and a kind of a shorthand that's pretty great. The understanding is that there are a lot of little questions along the way, especially in the beginning development of this idea, where you just need to have a rapport, and you need to have an understanding that we're on the same page, they get what I'm about, I understand them, and then we can sort of put in a quick question and just say, you know, this or this, you know, and they kind of go, oh, it's that one. Okay, great. And you do that a number of times, and you sort of start kind of dialing it in. This is the way this is looking. Everybody okay with this? And then you don't have to do it so much. The director has a million things in their project that they have to worry about. And so oftentimes, if the art department comes up with something that feels like a good idea, you know, a prop person or a set decorator says, oh, this would be great if this was in their room. It would tell the story about their childhood in a way that we don't even have to discuss. Oftentimes those are like really appreciated. The director loves that kind of stuff.
Which of course is why they're hiring you, is they want that kind of creative input. They want that creative back and forth. That's the point. Right. Do you think directors or producers come to you for a specific John Lavin vibe or look?
I don't. I think, I don't. I've had a career of doing a lot of things in my life. I was an illustrator and started as a cartoonist. I've done window display. I've done really a lot of things. Painter, I was a painter for a long time. Part of what I think makes me really much better suited to this work than being a gallery painter and being an artist per se is that I'm able to sort of take on other looks, sort of embody the thing that's appropriate for the project in a way that can be sort of death for an artist's career. You know, nobody goes to say, oh, he's the person who can paint anything in the art world. But in this world, being able to sort of take on the range is a more positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
My full interview with John is available at seattlechannel.org/artzone. And you can check out more of John's work at johnlavinstudio.com. Hi, and welcome.
And now, a special tour of Joe and Nancy Guppy's homegrown art collection.
Hey, come on in. Very excited to show you some of our art. And by the way, most everything in our collection is by local artists. So let's start with a local artist right over here on the wall. That is a Gregory Blackstock. And Gregory, during his work life, he's retired now, he worked at the Washington Athletic Club in the kitchen, like basically cleaning huge soup pots and that kind of thing, at the same time making lots of art. And Gregory works with crayons, Sharpie, and pencils, and he draws collections of things that he likes. In this case, firecrackers, the world firecrackers. Just a gorgeous piece. So this is a piece by Jillian Theobald, and she has such a great sense of color and composition. It's a cardboard box that she's painted, and she's added some paint chips here and here. Just a beautiful piece, such a good feeling to it. This down here is by Deborah Faye Lawrence. We've got a couple of pieces by Deborah. She made this when after she had gone through a health scare, and so the words well, well, well have a lot of meaning. Love having that in our collection. This piece over here is by a really cool guy, Alan Foley, and he's a painter, uses paint. He also uses very toxic materials, kind of resin, to get that gorgeous, glazy, bright, shiny glaze on that. I love the stripes. Okay, so above the door, this is Junko Yamamoto, and I'm a big fan of a series, so I love this series of 5. They're related, but they're separate at the same time. And then this is a cool piece by Amy Hevron, and look at the title, Ham or Envy. And now look at his face. He is clearly trying to make a very important decision. Now this painting is by Linda Davidson, and it is just meditative. That pink, those clouds, that skyscape, just makes you feel good looking at it. So let's head up the bookshelf, and this teapot by Kristen Nelson is delightful. I love her sense of whimsical glazing. That pink color drives me wild. And above that is my bottle collection. I've been collecting for, 25, 30 years. Find them at garage sales and antique stores, and they're just kind of fun. Over here is a piece by the late, great Marilee Tompkins, and this is called Mummy. She's wrapped in string, she's holding a wishbone, she's got a rear view mirror on one shoulder, feathers on both shoulders. Clearly, she's thinking about going somewhere. I can totally relate to that. And this piece is by Julie Lindell, a beautiful sculptural tree trunk. I love 3D pieces, and I love trees, and there's something pretty great about having a tree on the wall in your house. Across the room is another Julie Lindell. This is a yellow tree trunk, ceramic, of course. Up here is a piece by Lynn Sod, who is no longer with us. And Lynn had such a great eye for the items that she would paint. Plus, she was such a kind woman, and it really shows up in her work. All right, on the mantelpiece, we've got a Deem Chow. Deem is well known for carving crayons, and I love the detail. They're so charming. This is a Doris Chase sculpture. That's bronze. I should really move all these pieces because they're blocking the router, and blocking the router makes Joe really mad. Oh well. Okay, this painting is by Ryan Molenkamp. It's a volcano, beautiful, very vibrant. And you'll notice that it's not framed. A lot of the pieces in our collection aren't framed, partly because framing is expensive. But I think that paintings look just fine without a frame, so it doesn't stop me from throwing them up on the wall, and shouldn't stop you either. This piece is by Mark Calderon, and he cast these baby shoes out of lead. They're very heavy. Could be a murder item, murder weapon. Colonel Mustard in the billiard room with a lead baby shoe. All right, this piece is by Anne Baumgartner, also known as My Very Talented Sister. This is by Brian Beck, and he's a great artist and a woodworker, a little tiny, darling little tree. And this is Kensuke Yamada, and I really love this girl sculpture and that cool bird coming out of her mouth. All right, over here, this is an actual Jim Beam whiskey bottle from the 60s, and it was the prototype for the bottle that Jeannie lived in I Dream of Jeannie, that wonderful TV show from the 60s. This is a teapot, Joe's grandmother's teapot, has great nostalgic value. And speaking of, this box here, Lux box, this box was under my grandmother's sink, so I always saw it growing up. I loved it, and when I got married, my mother put that box into this plexiglass box, had it made, and so it's a little shrine to Grandma Thora. And down here, we've got a beautiful piece by Klara Glasova, and it is a pile of tea towels, but look, they're made out of ceramic. Gorgeous. And then, I'm going to call this the piece de résistance, because I think that's how you say it. My father made this when he was in architecture school at the UW, in I believe the 50s, and he did not become an architect, but this was made in his first or second year. Somehow it survived, and it is a treasure. I love having it hanging from our ceiling. Another mobile, obviously, I'm obsessed. All right, this piece is by a fantastic painter, Whiting Tennis, and I got this at a fundraiser. I'd had a few drinks, and I got to tell you, it's the best drunk purchase I've ever made, by far. Oh wait, this is by Jenny Filius, and it is a magnetic flower arrangement. Look at, you can just move these flowers around. Little birdie can go up there. It's just super charming. And then this is such a cool piece. It's by Richard Morehouse, and I love the vibrancy of the colors, the energy of the city, and then that track, that road, like, you know, you're going somewhere. And speaking of going somewhere, the art tour is over. It's time for you to go somewhere. But before you do, we do take donations. Oh, $5. Well, it is a $10 suggested donation.
Well, all I got is a 20.
That'll do just fine. Thanks so much for coming. Bye. Yes. Our musical guest this week is singer-songwriter Sera Cahoone, who sent in this lovely rendition of the title track from her 2008 album, Only as the Day is Long.
Slipped on my shoes and made myself look somewhat right, 'cause I can't be at home tonight. And I had no clue as to what I'm doing here, but let me lie in your bed for a day, 'cause it's a long way still until tomorrow. And all my insecurities are breaking me up inside. Light another cigarette and my eyes are on fire. Lightning strikes me only in dreams, and I know that I'm safe for now, but I know the rest is on its way. Oh. Lightning strikes me only in dreams, and I know that I'm safe for now, but I know the rest is on its way. I know it isn't easy. Nothing is the way I want it. All this will pass, 'cause it's only as the day is long. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Sera's full music catalog, including Only as the Day is Long, is available on her website, seracahoone.com. Before the pandemic hit, cinematographer Vincent Pierce was the director of photography on Wes Hurley's much-anticipated feature film, Potato Dreams of America. We visited the movie set in late February to capture this behind-the-scenes footage of Vince in action.
Let's have the 50. Yeah, let's take the 50. Go. 2.
This is what we were hoping to recreate, is this bus in Russia. Art on this is really, 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 really great. Hello. Just coming in for a second.
Sure. Vincent, you're in the shot.
I am? I know. And the light just falls off so perfectly.
Yeah, thanks, Robert.
Ooh, look at that. Cool. Let's do this.
All right, guys, pictures up. Let's roll cameras. You both see me? Oh, yeah. Roll sound.
Sounds good.
Scene 11, take one.
Action. Cut. That was beautiful.
Cut.
Cut. Potato Dreams of America, that's a wrap.
Potato Dreams of America is currently in post-production and hopes to hit the festival circuit in 2021. We've got one item for your arts calendar. Support the Market is a live stream event celebrating the heart and soul of Seattle, which is, of course, Pike Place Market. That's right, this 30-minute virtual gathering, emceed by the very talented improviser and actor Ron Hippie, will feature music from the Black Tones and from the market's own Kells Irish Band, plus song, dance, and burlesque from the Can-Can, stories and videos about the market's rich history, and opportunities to support this beloved and essential Seattle institution. Support the Market takes place as a live stream on Facebook and YouTube on Thursday, June 18th at 6:30 p.m. More information is at pikeplacefoundation.org. We're going to close with a remembrance of filmmaker Lynn Shelton, who died on May 15th, 2020, at the age of 54. Lynn was a marvelous and prolific artist who loved the creative process. She brought a warm, open, collaborative spirit to every project she worked on, and as a result, actors and crew adored her. In that spirit, here is some behind-the-scenes footage from the set of Lynn's 2011 film, Your Sister's Sister. There isn't any sound on the footage, so we've added one of Lynn's favorite songs, Down the River, from one of Lynn's favorite local bands, the Moondoggies. Enjoy, and Lynn, we'll see you on the other side.
She went down the river. She went down to put her hands in the sea. Ever since I've seen her, I ain't the man I am usually. Jesus won't deliver. He ain't the man sent here to set you free. And I know that this small world could fall. Yes, I know. She is a girl to win them all. Yes, I know.